You've probably eaten hundreds of bananas in your life, and there's a decent chance almost all of them were the exact same banana. The same variety, the same flavor, the same shape. Just cloned over and over again at industrial scale and shipped to every supermarket on Earth. But that's a really strange situation when you consider that there are over 1,000 banana varieties in the world, ranging from finger-sized sugar bombs to 2-foot-long starchy giants, bananas that taste like vanilla ice cream, bananas that taste like apples, bananas with orange flesh, bananas with bright pink skin that split themselves open when ripe. The banana aisle at your grocery store is not giving you the full picture, so today we're going to fix that. Here is every banana explained. Cavendish. Let's start with the one you already know. The Cavendish is the banana. It accounts for roughly half of all bananas grown globally and the vast majority of what gets exported internationally. When people picture a banana, they picture this one. Long, gently curved, yellow when ripe, with that mild, smooth, slightly sweet flavor that's basically become the definition of what a banana is supposed to taste like. But here's the thing. The Cavendish hasn't always been the world's banana. It only took over in the 1950s. Before that, a completely different variety called the Gros Michel dominated the market, and most people who ate both considered the Gros Michel to be noticeably better. The reason we ended up with the Cavendish is not because it was the tastiest option, it's because it survived. The way bananas are grown commercially is through cloning. Because the Cavendish doesn't produce seeds, every single plant is a genetic copy of every other plant. That's great for consistency. Every banana you buy looks and tastes identical, but it creates a massive biological vulnerability. If a disease can kill one Cavendish plant, it can kill all of them everywhere because there's no genetic variation to resist it. And that's already happening. A fungal disease called tropical race 4, a new strain of Panama disease, is spreading through Cavendish plantations worldwide, and the Cavendish has no resistance to it. Scientists and agricultural researchers are genuinely concerned that within a few decades, we may need to transition to a new commercial banana entirely, which brings us back to the question of what all the other options actually are. Gros Michel. Before the Cavendish, there was the Gros Michel. The name is French for Big Michael, and it was the undisputed king of the banana trade from the mid-1800s until the late 1950s. Larger than the Cavendish, with thicker skin that made it extremely durable during shipping. The Gros Michel was also, by nearly every account from people who actually tasted both, a significantly better banana. Richer, creamier, more complex in flavor, with a stronger aroma and a sweetness that people described as almost nectar-like. The fungus that killed it, Fusarium wilt, better known as Panama disease, spread rapidly through the world's plantations during the 1950s because, just like the Cavendish today, virtually all commercial Gros Michel plants were genetically identical clones. There was nothing to stop the disease. By the end of that decade, the Gros Michel was commercially extinct. It hasn't completely disappeared, though. Small pockets of Gros Michel plants survive today in parts of Thailand and South America, grown by small-scale farmers on soil that hasn't been infected. If you ever get the chance to try one, people who have described it as a noticeably different experience from anything in the average supermarket. Pisang Raja. Moving away from commercial history and into the world's great local bananas, the Pisang Raja is a good place to start. The name means king banana in Malay, and in much of Southeast Asia, it earns that title. Shorter and plumper than a Cavendish, with skin that develops a faint orange blush when fully ripe and deep golden flesh inside that's richer, creamier, and considerably more aromatic than anything most Western consumers have encountered. The flavor is often described as honey-like, sweeter and more layered than the Cavendish, with a texture closer to a ripe mango than a standard supermarket banana. It's the variety traditionally used for goreng pisang, the banana fritters found at street stalls and market carts throughout Indonesia. And Malaysia. The natural density and sweetness of the flesh holds up beautifully to frying, caramelizing at the edges without going mushy in the center. The reason you won't find Pisang Raja in a European or American supermarket is simple. It bruises too easily and has a shorter shelf life than the Cavendish. The entire global banana trade was essentially built around varieties that could survive long shipping chains, and the Pisang Raja was never built for that. Red banana. Red bananas Kai, sometimes called red Dhaka, are one of the most visually striking varieties you'll encounter. Short, plump, and covered in deep wine red to maroon skin from the outside all the way through ripeness. The flesh inside is cream to pale yellow, sometimes with the faintest pink tinge, and the flavor is genuinely different from anything you'd expect from a banana. Sweeter than a Cavendish, with a distinct berry-like quality and a subtle hint of raspberry that catches most first-time tasters completely off guard. They're also more nutritious than standard yellow bananas, with higher levels of vitamin C and beta-carotene. Widely grown in East Africa, South and Southeast Asia, and parts of the Americas, red bananas appear frequently in East African cooked dishes alongside plantains. In the Philippines, they're used in turon, a popular street dessert where the banana is wrapped in spring roll pastry with brown sugar and fried until the outside caramelizes and shatters. They also ripen more slowly than a Cavendish, so patience is required, but the payoff is usually a denser, more complex sweetness that makes for an exceptional smoothie banana. Blue Java. The Blue Java banana might have the best nickname of any fruit in the world. It's called the ice cream banana, and the name is entirely accurate. Before it ripens, the skin has an unusual blue-green, almost silvery tint caused by a natural wax coating. As it ripens, that turns to pale yellow. But the really remarkable thing about the Blue Java is the texture of the flesh. Smooth, whipped, almost custard-like, with a flavor often described as vanilla adjacent. Lightly sweet, gently floral, and so rich in texture that eating one really does feel like eating a soft dessert. The Blue Java originated in Southeast Asia, likely in the Philippines or Indonesia, and spread through the Pacific Islands, becoming a staple in Hawaiian and Filipino home cooking. One of its most useful traits is cold tolerance. It can handle temperatures that would stress or kill a Cavendish, which allowed it to thrive in subtropical regions where conventional banana varieties struggle. Like many of the best local bananas, the Blue Java essentially can't be shipped commercially. The flesh is too soft and delicate to survive a supply chain, so it's almost exclusively eaten close to where it's grown. Lady Finger. Ladyfinger bananas, also called sugar bananas, are exactly what they sound like. Native to Malaysia and Indonesia, they're small, narrow, only about 4 to 5 inches long, with a very thin, bright yellow peel when ripe. The flesh is smooth, intensely sweet, and almost completely free of starchiness even when slightly underripe. There's a syrupy, faintly floral quality to them that makes a ripe Cavendish taste comparatively flat. They're frequently cited as a great banana for children, partly because of the size and partly because the flavor is so unobjectionable. There's no bitterness, no starchiness, just clean, concentrated sweetness. The same thin peel that makes them so pleasant to eat makes them nearly impossible to ship at scale. In Southeast Asia and Australia, you'll find them regularly at local markets. Elsewhere, they're a specialty item. Manzano. The Manzano banana, also called the apple banana, is one of the most misunderstood varieties because its appearance is deeply counterintuitive. Short and chunky with pale yellow skin when ripe, the Manzano turns fully black very quickly. And unlike basically every other banana you've encountered, a jet black Manzano is not overripe. It's often at its best. The flesh inside stays firm cream white and slightly starchy, and the flavor has a distinctive tartness that genuinely recalls apples, or, for some people, strawberries, alongside the underlying banana sweetness. Native to Central and South America, it's a common market variety throughout Mexico, Central America, and the Caribbean, and is widely grown in Hawaii. That tartness makes it interesting in cooking too. Unlike some bananas that become cloying when baked or fried, the Manzano holds on to a slight acidity that keeps things balanced. The rapid blackening of the skin has largely kept it out of mainstream supermarkets where appearance signals freshness. But for people who know what they're looking for, it's a highly rewarding banana. Plantains deserve their own section because they're a fundamentally different kind of banana. A cooking banana built for the kitchen rather than for peeling and eating raw. Larger, starchier, and much less sweet than a Cavendish when unripe, plantains are treated more like a starchy vegetable in the many tropical cultures where they're a staple. West Africa, the Caribbean, Central America, and parts of Southeast Asia. The transformation a plantain undergoes as it ripens is dramatic. Green and firm, they're sliced and fried into crispy tostones, boiled and mashed into dishes like fufu, or cooked in stews as a savory component. As they ripen through yellow into black, the starch converts to sugar and they become soft and sweet, perfect for caramelized sweet fried plantains or maduros that pair remarkably well with savory food. In Uganda, certain plantain cultivars called matuki are so central to the national diet that the word itself means both plantain and food in the Luganda language. More bananas grown globally are actually plantains than dessert bananas. They feed an estimated 70 million people in Africa alone. Saba. The Saba banana is the backbone of Filipino banana culture, thick-skinned, sturdy enough to survive rough handling and bad weather, and useful across its entire ripeness window. Green Saba gets cooked like a vegetable, while ripe Saba turns sweet and fruit-forward. The plant itself is so robust that farmers use it to protect more delicate crops like papaya during storms. Saba is the banana behind two of the Philippines' most beloved street foods. Banana Q coats ripe Saba in caramelized brown sugar and skewers it on bamboo. Simple, intensely sweet, and found everywhere from school gates to market stalls. Turan wraps sliced Saba and brown sugar in spring roll wrappers, sometimes with jackfruit, and fries the whole thing until the outside shatters and the inside is molten. Saba is a workhorse banana, and Filipino cuisine has built an entire category of beloved foods around it. Fe'i Banana. The Fe'i Banana is unlike anything else on this list. While every other banana on here hangs downward in its bunch, Fe'i bananas grow pointing upward, clusters reaching toward the sky. They're native to Melanesia and the Pacific Islands, Papua New Guinea, Tahiti, and the surrounding archipelagos. And genetic evidence suggests they descend from a different wild species than most other cultivated bananas, making them a genuinely separate branch of the banana family tree. The skin is orange to deep scarlet, and the flesh inside ranges from yellow to vivid orange, the result of exceptionally high beta-carotene content. In traditional Polynesian and Melanesian communities, Fe'i bananas were historically a critical dietary source of vitamin A, and researchers have linked traditional Fe'i consumption to lower rates of vitamin A deficiency in those communities. They're starchy cooking bananas, boiled, roasted, or steamed in earth ovens alongside other root vegetables. The cooked flavor is earthy and mildly sweet. The plant also produces a bright purple sap that was traditionally used as a dye for both cloth and tattoos. Rhino Horn. The Rhino Horn banana is the world's longest banana. Individual fruits can reach 60 centimeters, about 2 feet, and the bunch curves dramatically to a pointed tip that makes the comparison to a rhinoceros horn immediately obvious. Originating in Ethiopia and cultivated across East and Central Africa, it belongs to the French plantain group, characterized by enormous size and high starch content. Unripe, the flesh is firm and starchy. Fully ripe, it softens and develops a mild sweetness typical of plantain-type bananas. A single bunch can be a substantial meal. It's virtually unknown outside Africa, not because it isn't good, but because no commercial infrastructure exists to ship something of that size to international markets. So what's the takeaway from all of this? The banana you grew up eating is genuinely just one entry in an enormous, wildly diverse family of fruits. Varieties built for frying, varieties built for dessert, varieties with orange flesh and upward pointing bunches, varieties that are functionally sacred, varieties that taste like ice cream. The commercial dominance of the Cavendish is a story about logistics and disease resistance, not about quality. And as Tropical Race 4 continues to spread, the world may be forced to reckon with that story sooner than expected. The next time you see an unfamiliar banana at a farmer's market or a specialty grocery, try it. The range of what a banana can actually taste like is far wider than most people ever get to experience.